empathic, which most of us are, whether we recognize it or not, or ultra-sensitive. I will tell you most of the feelings that you experience throughout your life are not really yours. You're picking up other people's energy. We will talk about that because actually we're transmuters of energy. We take lower vibrational energy and raise it up to our level. That's what every human being in a physical form does day and night, whether you know it or not. So that's what we do. We transmute lower vibrational energy into higher vibrational energy. Our bodies do it. So when you get in a room of sad people, your vibration will sink to match that so you could uplift it. And then when you leave, you feel like crap because it takes a while to transmute all of that energy. So when you're just walking around and you're picking up other people's energy and you're transmuting it. So you could be walking through a store or something or driving. I even get a lot driving. You know, like if you drive through an accident scene, it may have happened a long time ago. You'll feel scared or you'll feel sad or you'll get some kind of emotion from that, you know. And when you start recognizing that all this stuff is going on in you and it really doesn't have anything to do with you, it's other people's stuff, and you recognize that you're transmuting energy, then it's a lot easier. But when you try to own it all, it makes you crazy. It just does, it's too hard. But if you recognize it, once I started recognizing, oh, okay, that's not mine, okay, that's not mine, and then you just move on with your life and realize how you're changing the world by transmuting the energy. That's what's wonderful about it. And the higher our energy becomes, the more energy we can transmute. So are we not evolving, helping the world evolve by doing that every day? So that's where some of your greatest masters will say, you know, to become the best that you can become, because you're uplifting all of humanity. And I always talk about the spiral. It doesn't matter where you're at on the spiral. The higher up you are, as you make one step in your evolution, everybody in a lower vibration behind you is making that step forward. So, yes.
Got a question?
Okay.
So when you recognize it's not your energy, and so at that point, what happens to that energy that you don't absorb? It changes its vibration?
You change the
You change
vibration
the
if you're
vibration.
higher.
Okay.
If you're vibrating at a higher vibration, you will transmute it. Because all energy, everywhere in the universe, seeks to evolve. It seeks to raise its vibration, all energy. So you have millions of vibrations, different levels of emotional vibration that's here on this planet. So we're constantly transmuting it. And as we become more evolved and our vibration's higher, then we're helping the whole world. And that's why the monks sit in caves for like 10 years. They spend their whole existence transmuting energy. And you read about these monks that will sit in caves for, till they die, just praying and transmuting energy to keep the world from destroying itself. And there's a lot of them that do that spend their whole life doing that. So we do it whether we know it or not. We do it on a smaller scale than that because our life's not devoted to that. But we do it all the time. And once you start recognizing that a lot of the energy or a lot of the thoughts, if you're not really disciplined in what you're allowing in your space, and we'll talk about that, we'll learn some things we could do about that to keep your space clear. And the recognition is over 50% of it, just recognizing it. That's not really my stuff. And if you have a conversation with a friend, and everybody knows this, you talk to a friend and man, my life sucks, and it's just like, wow, do you really want to call that person tomorrow again, see what's going on? Because it pulls you down so you have the ability to lift it up. You cannot lift them up usually. They'll dump on you. They're lower energy. They'll hang up feeling really good, or else they'll call somebody else and tell the same story over and over and over. And then there's no evolution that happens there. But you'll end up with it, and then you'll transmute it. And that's, I think, where a lot of our discontent comes from and some of our illnesses come from. And we will talk about that when we get to that section in the book about dumping toxic friends and family. Whether you guys agree with it or not, it is so important for you to do the best you can to make yourself a clear channel for energy and for all of humanity. And And humanity's starting with yourself. It just is. You know, you have the power to choose that. And all of the brainwashing you receive through your domestication about how you can't, like, divorce your parents and you can't divorce your siblings, it's like crap. That's not true. You know, you can if they're not helping uplift the image or the desire or the direction that you're choosing to go in. You know, you're not here to save them per se. When I teach parents about their children, when children become about 10 or 11 or 12, somewhere around that, they become best taught by example. Because you can tell a 12-year-old something over and over and over, and they're not going to do anything you say, but if you set the example, that's the best you can do, whether they follow it or not. It's not about the verbal commands, and it's not about the verbal, you should do this, shoulda, woulda, coulda. That's such an important part of the illusion, but it doesn't help you spiritually. And it's just about doing the best you can for yourself and setting that example. And then you're not interfering in other people's personal choice either. So I think it's probably near the last chapters or the last week, we're going to talk about keeping your nose out of other people's business and respecting people's choices, whether you agree with them or not.